Hey, everybody. Welcome to the NintendoFuse Podcast. We're here to talk about Nintendo, mostly Switch today. There's a lot of important news. Labo came out recently. We're talking about the future, our hopes for Smash Brothers, and a lot of online information just came out. But before we jump into that, I just want to let you guys know that we are so grateful that you're here. And we want you to join in. So if you're in the chat on YouTube, make sure you do kind of toss your thoughts out there. We'll refer to those chat messages, and make sure you just keep the interaction flowing, because that's one of the big things that we like to do here at the NintendoFuse Podcast is interact with our audience. So thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Steve Cullum. I'm joined today by Greg. How's it going, Greg?
Good. How's it going, Steve?
Doing well, and also joined by Barry.
Hey, guys.
And yeah, like I said, we're here to talk all about Nintendo. We've spent some time with Labo, some of us have, and we're going to talk Smash Brothers and everything. But that's kind of a tease because we just had some breaking news. Nintendo has finally released a little more information about their online services for the Nintendo Switch. And we haven't had a whole lot of time to talk or to read about it or research anything of it. But I feel like of the three of us, Greg probably has the most information. So, Greg, you want to kind of lead us through the basic information here about this online service?
Yes, I'll go on right and do that. On the Nintendo.com site, there's an online service tab now, and they've populated some of the boxes. So, obviously, generically speaking, it's like they talked about online play. You can battle it out or cooperate with players around the world in games like Splatoon 2, ARMS, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Mario Tennis Aces, and Sushi Striker: The Way of the Shushido. And then they also have a very interesting box called Save Data Cloud Backup. So it looks like that my one ask from one of our prior podcasts is coming true. So you can save your data online for easy access, and then it just says more details will be released in the future. So that's unfortunately all they have about that. They also have one for special offers, and then they'll say to stay tuned on news for special offers and deals. So who knows what that's about? Maybe it's some special discounted pricing. Obviously, they mentioned their awesome Nintendo Switch Online app, which I'm sure everyone's using for their voice chat. So it's definitely going to be a thing going forward. They're not going to be changing that. And then finally, they also have Enjoy 20 NES games will be added for online play for the first time ever, and more games to be added regularly. And then there's a learn more thing, and they have 10 of their 20 games already populated out. So I can go through those and we can see if either you guys are excited, which ones you guys are excited for. So we have soccer, tennis, Donkey Kong, like the arcade version, Mario Bros, again, arcade version, Super Mario Bros, that awesome launch title, Balloon Fight, Ice Climber, Dr. Mario, The Legend of Zelda, and Super Mario Brothers 3. What are your guys' thoughts on those?
Yeah, I don't know. I've always wondered like what this is going to be like, of course, and I think it's interesting the game choices they have. I think some of those are pretty kind of obvious. They don't actually mention Dr. Mario, I don't think, in that list, but that's what it shows in the image there. So games like that, I think, games like soccer, they have online components, but it is interesting that they brought in stuff like Mario Brothers, or I guess Mario Brothers is pretty good one to do online as well, like multiplayer. But The Legend of Zelda, like, is that all? Are they all going to have online components, or only some of them? And how's that all going to work? But I think the ones that I'm probably the most excited. That's hilarious.
Oh my god, you see this? You see this? We have captured Hassan and we have brought him back.
Yes.
We are showing everybody that we have him here. We are not letting him go.
I didn't think you were actually going to do it, Barry. Like I'm
a man of my word.
So he's in an undisclosed location, I'm sure. Yeah.
I'm not telling anybody where he is. But just so you guys know, I told you you're not letting him go, and there's the proof.
That's awesome. Hey, if you're not if you're listening to this later and you're not watching the live version on video, this is just your warning. Next time you've got to watch the live version video because that's awesome. So yeah, hopefully you can go find Hassan. He. Oh man. Okay. I'm sure that's great. Okay, let's jump back into this. Oh man. So yeah, I don't really know. That kind of threw me off. I think it's cool, these games. I mean, I hope they were going to have Super Mario Brothers. I hope they're going to have Super Mario Bros. 3. Games like that sound fantastic. But it is interesting. Yeah, like even in the the images and everything, it shows Dr. Mario in a couple different places, but it's not listed. So I don't know if that's just an omission on their behalf or what. But yeah, I'm interested to see what the online components are really like in those games. Probably the one I'm most excited about is I don't know. Oh, never mind. I can't read. I apologize. Dr. Mario's on the list. You guys are probably like, tell me next time I can't read. Probably the one soccer. I would like to play the original soccer game online with somebody else. That's probably the one I'm most excited about. So I don't know. What do you think, Gary? Greg, is that like, are you one that's like kind of gravitate toward more?
Yeah, the sports games definitely seem to be the best fit for having the online multiplayer, definitely, and obviously Dr. Mario as well. I'm kind of interested to see how like Donkey Kong and Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario Brothers 3 is really going to be handling, because that's a lot more alternating between turns and everything. So unless they're going to be doing like this multiplayer like at the same time, like New Super Mario Brothers U type situation, I don't know. Especially the original Super Mario Brothers game, because if you remember, you actually went until you actually lost a life. So if you're
just gotta wait.
So if they don't fix that, then you could be watching somebody beat the game and you don't even really get to play. So that could be very interesting if they don't make a change or something to it.
That's true. Yeah. Barry, you get anything that you think you're gonna be excited about, I guess, to play on this?
Make sure he does not get on the camera again. Okay, I told you. God, I'm sorry. I told them to watch Hassan and make sure he does not get access to the camera. I've just been on the phone yelling at them. I can't believe they let him do that. Oh my God. I'm sorry. Anyways, so what games? Honestly, I'm not thrilled. The reason I'm not thrilled is I feel the games are very safe. They're very basic. Like you said, Zelda is not a multiplayer game, so on components, okay. And like Mario, they would have to change Mario so that it alternates for sure, even if you beat a level. Otherwise, you could sit there the entire time and watch someone beat it, like you said. As for why I'm not thrilled, I feel like the NES Classic came out and it was popular. And I feel like a lot of these are just NES Classic games. Like, they're very safe. Like, they could pull more well-known, if Tetris isn't even there. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
I mean that's the number one like go-to. You could even do other ones like Wario's Woods. Add to, and I wanted to see them add 2-player components to single-player games, and really make it something special. But it's, hey, pay us money to access games after you've already have it on Virtual Console, after you have the original cartridge, or you have an NES Classic. It really seems half-hearted. It's also the fact that it's just NES games, and they've had enough time with this. All right, they've been focusing on the Switch. They have an SNES catalog. They have an N64 catalog. They have a GameCube catalog. They have a Game Boy catalog, and a Game Boy Color, and a Game Boy Advance. There's so many untapped games that they can add multiplayer online to and make it exciting. Like the Nintendo download is every Thursday. Hey, fine, these are the 20 launch day games. That's fine. But every Thursday add 5 more games or something like that. Like, make it continue. And that, I think, will be good. Now, if they do what they originally said, like every month there would be a game, and like these 20 are for the launch month, and then there's a new 20, that's just going to piss people off. Like, oh, I was really enjoying Dr. Mario with my friend, and now we can't play it anymore. Well, that wasn't really worth the subscription. And you don't want to alienate customers. Another thing, I know we didn't really talk pricing, but I did want to bring this up because I was looking through the FAQ. There is different pricing models, and they added something new, which they did not talk about before, which is a family group. And a family group is like $35, and you could have up to 8 accounts all on this family group, which that sounds great. However, and this is a big however, it's not happening. Not happening yet. You can start doing it on May 15th. You can now create the family group. So I don't know how well it's going to work at launch, but it should be, interesting to see if that actually does work, or if we can share. Like, hey, we each one of us buys it, and then we could share it amongst us. Does it have to have the same Wi-Fi connection, or can it be anywhere? And like Amazon Prime, you could get 4 people accounts, and you could split it. That might be the way to go. Hey, get a family accounts and split it amongst friends. So I'm kind of curious to see how open they're going to be with that.
Yeah, I was talking with Steve right before like this launch, and I was like talking through that, and it was like we can create a NintendoFuse family, and like if we buy digital games, does that mean we all get to download the same game on our individual Switch? Because that I don't know, that could really up the ante on those that really are anti-digital, because that's like everyone gets their own game version of the game for $60 instead of all 3 of us paying $60 each for the same game.
Yeah. And I know that like Xbox, I think allows you to kind of share the game. It's not really theirs. So I know some friends that kind of do that on there. They kind of share the rights to the game or whatever, and like one person buys it and they do that. I don't know if that's technically legal, but yeah, they do it. But so I feel like you could get something if it's allowed. They could do something very similar right here, and yeah, like we could create the NintendoFuse family, and there's 7 people, and maybe we give away some memberships to our listeners. I'm not saying that's actually going to happen, but yeah, if we get $5 a year per person, that's a pretty awesome deal. Even if it's not that great, it's $5 a year, and that's worth it for the online saves data backup alone for $5 a year. I'd be willing to pay that. So I think some of these aspects of what they're going to be offering, I think is great. I think the special offers, it's cool that they're going to still continue to offer things out there to members and everything. But I do kind of come back what you're saying, Barry, about the NES thing. It's interesting that that's all they mention is NES. Like, it'd be different if they say like, access to the virtual console library or something like that makes it a little more broad. All they talk about is NES games in the beginning, but then it kind of leaves it open, but they don't do that. They specifically mention Nintendo Entertainment System, and that's all. And so it does make me worry that that's all they're going to stick with for now. Because there's so many great games, the SNES and 64, and they could even keep, going up if they wanted to with their newer consoles, especially like you said, Game Boy. It'd be awesome to bring all their classics into this, but I don't know. Maybe they'll keep beefing it up, and maybe that'll add to it. Maybe there'll be tiers or something that you can get later on that has access to this other stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too much of what they're actually offering.
Well, you know what adds insult to injury to me? And yes, I'm not going to say that adding online components to all these games is easy. And I understand that they're doing that, and I'm going to give them credit for that. But there's one other time that I could remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, in Nintendo's history, where they have specifically used 20 games as an incentive. And that was the Ambassador program for the 3DS, where we did get 10 NES games, and we also got 10 GBA games. And the selection on those games was significantly better than the selection right now. And that was back in, 2011? 2011. So You're looking at 7 years later, you can't come up with a better selection of games? I mean, to me, it's half-hearted.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's half-hearted. I think it's going to be like, who's really going to want to download soccer like come Christmas time? I mean, that's not going to be like a major selling point for them to release it later, if you get what I'm saying.
I don't think NES soccer is honestly a big drawing point. If you want to play soccer online, you're probably going to be playing FIFA 18 or FIFA 19 in September or close to September, which even though it's made by EA has to be a better game than NES Soccer. I mean, that NES Soccer was not like amazing. So, no.
Yeah, that's also why it's going on there now, because it can get more sales, downloads, whatever it is that they're doing with these.
It's
But
going September. This all
yeah,
launched in September.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I mean that's not going up now, and that's the problem. Yeah, if it was now, if it was a May game, okay, sure, whatever. But that's not the type of game that's going to excite people. And the sad thing is, there's not many NES games that will. Zelda 1, Mario 3, they'll excite a few small people, but they did that already. They did that with the NES Classic. They captured that flame and they burned it, and they burned it. And you know what? The NES Classic is coming back this summer. So people did not get the NES Classic. It's coming back out this summer, and now you're going to launch this in September. It's too much on the NES and too little, in my opinion.
Yeah, Neostar 9 in the chat was saying that we only have 10 of the 20 games announced so far. So we know that there are only going to be NES games right now. What other games would you like to see from the NES that are not in this collection of 10 that could be possibly in that other collection that would excite you, Greg? Did any big NES titles come to your mind?
Mario 3 is pretty much one of the biggest ones for me, but ones that are not in the list. I mean, I'm still a sucker for Zelda 2, so I'm probably one of the only few people that would. But let's see, Super Dodgeball would be really good. Spy vs. Spy. I mean, these are some third-party games. Contra. Yeah, I mean, some games that I still play on my NES from time to time.
Yeah, you do mention a good point, though. I mean, these are all first party games that they've announced so far. So, are they only going to stick with first party in the beginning, or are they going to go third party? Barry, what do you think?
I think that knowing Nintendo, they're going to stay first party. No, what they should do is they should get third party. Now, knowing Nintendo, and this is what they would do. They'd be like, "Hey, guess what, guys? We got third party. We got Mega Man 2 and we got Mega Man 3." And people would be like, "But the Legacy Collection just came out with Mega Man 2 and 3 and all the others." And they'd be like, "But we have it online." And it'd be like, "But it's a single player game." And they'll be like, "Leaderboards, pay us for leader." But the Legacy Collection, I think, has leaderboards too. So that's the way Nintendo of America at least would take it. I would love to see third party games on this. I would love to see them reach outside the box, not take third party games that were already put on the NES Classic. I like to see them go and actually get the harder to get physical games for people. Like when they brought Earthbound onto the Wii U Virtual Console, one of the reasons it was such a big deal, besides the fact that Nintendo of America actually acknowledged the Mother series, was the fact that that was an expensive cart. And a lot of people couldn't find it or couldn't afford it. And now they could actually play that game. So I'd like to see games like Little Samson. I like to see games like Fire and Ice. I'd like to see like DuckTales 2 and Chip and Dale 2. And games like that. Get Zombie Nation. Go after like the most expensive physical cards and get them out there for people to at least experience some of these games. Because a lot of the average person is not going to drop $1,000 on Little Samson. And yes, you could play it through emulation, and if you really want to, that's how you're going to do it. But this is like Nintendo's way of saying, hey, check it out. We've got some games you may not have even heard of. Why don't you check these out? Let's not stay in safe territory. You have the entire NES library. The people who really wanted to play those games have already played them, and those that are curious have already found it. So get games that people aren't thinking about. Say, hey, you know what? I've never played that. This is an extra incentive, not, oh boy, Mario 2 again. Just what I wanted to play.
Right, because I have probably at this point 10 copies of Mario 2, and I played it on pretty much every system I have. So it's nice to spice it up a little bit. But that's enough with the online service for now. Speaking of games we have played, what have you guys been playing lately? Greg, what's been the go-to games the last few weeks since our last podcast?
New game that just came out, Lightfall, was by Bishop Games. I guess we'll potentially be interviewing them soon, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Also, I was still been continuing through Fire Emblem Warriors. are
Nice.
the main ones I've been playing so far.
Nice. Do you recommend either of those? Like you get enough into them, or you're a pretty big fan and you go to the point of recommending them?
Yep, I'm already on like chapter 7 or 8 in Fire Emblem Warriors. Definitely think it's worth it, especially if you like Hyrule Warriors. It's obviously plays very similar, but it's all with Fire Emblem characters. So anyone that's a fan of Fire Emblem games, I would think they would probably enjoy it because they still bring over some of the quirks and the leveling up stuff and like the characters and getting the weapon triangle advantage against different enemies, and you get to use the Pegasus Knights and the horse riders, so it's not just everyone on foot using weird abilities. So very cool game.
That's
Lightfall is a little platformer game, so that's really neat. You get to go really fast and create platforms underneath while you're jumping. So it's a pretty fun game as well.
nice. Barry, what have you been playing lately?
Still working my way through Detective Pikachu slowly, but I it's losing steam, and there's just too much other things going on. I did play through the new God of War, which was I enjoyed it a lot. I loved the story of it, but Zelda kind of ruined the. I still wanted to climb every mountain. Thank you, Zelda, for ruining that for me. But yeah, I do recommend that if you do have a PS4. Like Greg, I am playing Lightfall. I am in talks to try and get an interview up this week with them. So I have been playing through that. I'm not terribly far. It's an interesting game. I don't want to go too much into it because we're going to do a game chat on it. And, we'll obviously have an interview up for Industry Talk. But it's a lot of fun, and I would recommend Lightfall for sure. But I do want to play Donkey Kong. I got Donkey Kong. I was ready to play Donkey Kong. Life happened as well as Lightfall, and I'm like, well, let me play Lightfall first for the interview, and then I plan to relax a little bit and play Donkey Kong after.
Nice.
Although Shantae comes out tomorrow, and it's like, oh man, that's too much.
That's very true. Yes. So I have Barry and I have done along with Mike. We did a game chat recently about Rogue Aces. So if you haven't checked that out on our channel, you can check out our game chat. We talk all about that. So we've been playing Rogue Aces. Also played Urban Trial Playground as well. Barry and I have talked about that on our game chat as well. So if you haven't checked either of those out, you can hear us talk at length about both of those games. But and other than that, some other games that I've been playing, kind of reaching back into the history, I guess, the short history of the Switch so far. I've been playing a lot of having some parties and stuff recently with different people. So playing a lot of Jackbox parties. Like the party packs. So if you've not checked out any of the Jackbox games, they're a blast. And I'm thinking maybe someday we'll do something on our Twitch or YouTube stream or something like that with some of you guys and play Jackbox online, because it's one of those games that you could play from around the world because you just play from your cell phone and you can't tap into the game that's running live on the Switch. So it's a pretty cool thing. I've been playing Word Search. And I got the review copy for that one and played it a little bit on the plane recently. It's basic word search, it's not that exciting, but it's word search. Also played Disc Jam, which is basically just throwing this disc back and forth. So I'm eventually going to do a review on that one. And Breaks Are for Losers is another game that I've been playing recently. So it's if you're unfamiliar with that, it's kind of a top-down racing game, but you do have no brakes. So you're just constantly going, even through the menus, like you're just traveling and you have no brakes. So you just kind of run to the walls, and you have to make sure you don't run into the walls. You have to do pit stops or you break down and all these different things you're picking up along the way. So kind of a bunch of different kind of crazy games that I've been playing lately. But speaking of which, I know Barry, you mentioned Donkey Kong. It's come out recently. I'm pretty excited about it as well. I haven't picked it up, but I'm excited about it as well. I loved it on Wii U, but my Wii U is sitting over there, collecting dust, and it'd be great to, be able to take it with me on my Switch and play it at any time. So I am very strongly thinking about getting that. Greg, is there any of the games that you haven't picked up yet, but are really excited about the last couple of weeks that you're still thinking about?
Yeah, I'm still on the fence about Donkey Kong. Not excited for putting $60 towards a game they already had on Wii U that I actually I didn't beat that one, so definitely that one has been on my mind. Hyrule Warriors I think comes out soon, and that's another
Yeah,
one.
the
It's like
18.
do I double dip on that as well? But I'm already playing Fire Emblem Warriors. It's too much double dipping, I think. But I don't
Yeah.
know. I might try to see what they have for E3 because they'll be like, "Oh, here's Mario Maker," and I'm like, "Oh, sold. Boom, done."
Barry, is there anything recent that maybe you did pick up? I know you're trying to get a whole collection there, so I'm
Yeah.
sure you probably have all the games. But anything other than Donkey Kong that you picked up recently, or you haven't yet, but you're pretty excited
Yeah,
about?
I do have them all right now. Darkest Dungeon came out. That one I am interested in giving that a try. And I don't know how good it is, but there's the Aqua Racing Utopia, and I'm a big sucker for Wave Race, so I'm sure it's terrible, but it's kind of like appealing. Like, should I give this a try? Just for the fun of it. I'm trying to think. Galgun 2 came out, but I don't know if I could bring myself to actually play that one. That's a little weird, especially on a Nintendo console. And Wild Guns came out. That one, I, it's a short game, especially on beginner where you have an infinite continues. I do plan to crack that open and play through that. It shouldn't take me long. It's just Lightfall is now my priority for this interview, and then after that, I don't know. Maybe I'll do Wild Guns before Donkey Kong. But again, Shantae comes out, and I want to play that. And I didn't play that on any other system, so I'm like, oh, there's too many games,
Nice. Yeah, so let's switch our attention here, because that's true. Because recently the Nintendo Labo came out, and those of you that are watching live or listening later, you're probably seeing me even like hold this case up, and you're going, Steve, what are you talking about? You said you were not getting Labo. And I know, and I lied because I went to it was GameStop, and I walked right by it, and I go, I don't need this. And the next thing I know, I'm putting it on the counter and saying I want one. So yeah, I have the Toy-Con 1 kit from Nintendo Labo. Did either of you guys? I know Barry got it. Greg, did you pick up Nintendo Labo yet?
No, I did not. I saw it in the stores, but I didn't find its way onto the counter like it did for you.
I don't know how you resisted. I was totally sucked in and was like, why am I doing this? Oh man.
Buy the big box and take it apart and fold it.
No, this box is huge, by the way. It's like, I mean, I'm sure you've seen people like unbox it and everything on YouTube and everything already, but this is like gigantic. Like, I don't know how, like, there's so many pieces of cardboard in there.
It doesn't have anything on Guitar Hero, let me tell you.
That's very true. Yeah, I remember walking out of GameStop with Guitar Hero, and it's like this,
Rock
especially
band.
if you got the drums as well.
Yeah, like the big box, those like a suitcase size.
Right. So Barry, if you haven't got any chance to actually play around with Labo yet?
No, I got the Toy-Con 1 and 2. I'm actually looking right at them. They're behind my computer. But they also came out the same day as God of War, and we're doing a lot of house rearranging and construction right now. So the last thing we need is extra cardboard pieces to get damaged or just taking up more room. And even though it is a big box, they take up a lot less room as flat cardboard pieces. So we're probably going to save that till after everything's done. Then we'll mess around with it. We definitely want to. We've seen some really great creative videos. I really want the UPS carrying case. I was talking with them through Twitter, and they said that they were debating releasing the format for it, like the diagram.
Yeah.
So I would totally do that. But yeah, up until then, I'll do it. But as of now, I'm just a little piffed that it's a black spine as opposed to a red spine. But I guess they want it to stand out. My wife, who is very OCD, would be like, "Nope, sorry, red, black, red," and you're just gonna deal with it because it's put under N for Nintendo Labo.
Oh
it wasn't
yes.
down the same aisle. When I saw it at Target, it was down like a different aisle. It was like with like the amiibos and other Nintendo collectibles. It wasn't like with the other games.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I saw it later on in Target as well, and saw that it was placed with the DIY stuff as well. There was like some other Google has some DIY kits, and there was a Raspberry Pi there as well, which I didn't even realize that Target sold Raspberry Pi. But all these different things in this DIY section, and I immediately thought back to is like, hey, we've talked about that on the podcast about how we felt like it was probably going to go into the DIY category, and stores are already putting it there, and that's been pretty cool.
Not only that, we also talked about schools. I think it's in Europe. There's already a school that's ordered it for a STEM program, which I think is great. And if Nintendo's smart, they'll market it to more schools.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I haven't spent a whole lot of time with Labo. And what I realized is I'm glad that they did this. When you fire it up, and if you've seen this already, you know that in the images of each like Toy-Con that you can create, it tells you how long it's going to take on average to create it. And I'm so glad they did, because I was going to jump into the piano at the very beginning. I was like, that's really cool. I want to create that. And it was like going to take like 3 hours or something on average. I was like, I don't have that kind of time right now. So I'm going to create the little RC car. And that took me like 3 minutes. So you create this Joy-Con holder first. That's like your first thing. There's like 3 folds in the whole thing. I don't really know what you can do with it after this, but it was kind of just a little test
I think it's used for like the piano. You put that in the back, I think. That might be the piece. Maybe I could be wrong. I haven't done it yet, but it appears to. Like, don't throw it out.
Okay, good, because I was like, I don't need this anymore. Sorry, I just imagined. You guys watch who is it? Lamar Wilson on YouTube. Like sometimes when you throw things, it just like that's what I imagine me doing. Anyhow, we'll add that in post. That's right. But I created that, and then I did create the little RC car. So it's something. It does work. It's kind of cool. I didn't realize you could go in and then adjust the vibration sensitivity and everything, so you can lower it really down or crank it up all the way. And it's interesting because you think cranking up all the way makes it go faster, but actually you kind of got to get in that like sweet spot to make it go faster. And so I think that's going to come in really handy when you did some like races with other people and stuff like that. So there's a little more to it than I was expecting. And this is probably the easiest one of the whole thing. It's kind of pointless, but it goes on your Switch and makes it look like you have an actual remote. Kind of dumb, but
that's pointless.
Yeah, so much. That was probably this is the easiest one to make for sure. Those 2 folds right there, done. I just made a Toy-Con on air right there, right before your eyes. That's all you got to do. Boom, done. So yeah, I'm most interested in playing around with the piano one. So I just gonna kind of set aside 2 or 3 hours at some point to play around with the piano one. What do you guys, Barry? You're the only one that got it. Which one are you most excited about creating?
Honestly, the fishing rod and the motorcycle, I think, for me, are the most exciting. Besides the robot, but yeah. I am kind of upset though, Steve, to see that your Toy-Con RC car does not have a couple kitchen knives duct taped to the front of it, so you could do battle with the other one. Because you can make 2 of them and battle them. I really wanted to see some kitchen knives in there. Really get them to the death.
That's true. I haven't got time to make my other one yet because it only takes 5 minutes. But I haven't got that time yet. So one of these days, yeah, I'll have to give my wife the other one, and we'll have a little battle on there. It is pretty cool that you can do 2 from the same Switch. So that's kind of fun because we don't have a second Switch yet. So that's kind of fun that you can do that. But yeah, I'm sure we'll kind of share our Toy-Cons a little more in future episodes. Maybe we can kind of make a little, a segment for a few episodes to kind of show off what we've been creating lately. In addition to what we've been playing lately, maybe like our latest creation or something, and maybe we'll kind of create our own things at some point. I really would like to create the guitar there. I don't know if I'm ever going to get around to it, but it would be really awesome to create the guitar. But we'll see. So let's shift our attention a little bit to Super Smash Brothers for the Nintendo Switch. And we know that it's coming out this year. It was announced. We talked a lot about it in the past podcast, but we don't really know hardly anything about it right now. So until we start to know a little more about it, we thought it'd be fun to kind of talk about some different aspects and make some predictions and talk about our hopes and dreams about Super Smash Brothers for Switch. So today we're going to start off with talking about characters that we would like to see in the game. So Greg, you want to start us off? Any characters that you've been thinking about that you would like to see in the Switch version of Super Smash Brothers?
Yes, there's quite a number of them actually, but I can just do some at a time, and I'm sure if I don't want to take everyone else's thunder on some of the same characters. But initially, I would definitely like to see Mega Man return. I think having the Legacy Collection helps promote that, to have him return, along with Mega Man 11 coming later this year. But in addition to that, I think it would be really cool if we did get like Simon Belmont and Bomberman, some of these other big, like, have a big battle like between Mario and Sonic and all these original games, like, and Samus. I just think that would be the perfect topping on the cake right there, just to have some other third-party characters that come right in and join the Nintendo greats on the best platform of all time here. So
nice. Very, very good. That kind of rise to the top that you would really like to see on Switch.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to count characters in Smash Wii U / 3DS, including DLC characters. I'm expecting them all to return. So I'm not gonna. I obviously Mega Man, but I expect them to return. I expect that to be the groundwork. I would be very disappointed if there's any characters cut, especially first-party characters. Like if for whatever reason Square said no, we don't want Cloud to return, or Capcom said no, we don't want Ryu to return. That's one thing. That's out of Nintendo's hands. But every character that Nintendo should return, and every third party should return. And I would like to see all previously cut characters return too. Just let's go back to the precedent set by Melee, all returning characters. So going on for that, adding a new character. My vote when they did the Smash vote was Bomberman, which Greg said. So my character that I would like to see next is King K. Rool. I think really need to get some classic DKC love. And if my wife was listening, she would be like, "No, Dixie Kong." So I'm going to do an honorable mention, Dixie Kong, there for her. But at least some classic DKC representation. Nothing against Retro's entries, but I like to see some of the more representation from Rares.
No easy mode with Funky?
Well, you could do Funky. I'd be fine with Funky Kong too.
How about Candy?
Why not? You know what? If they do Candy, though, it has to be the CGI Donkey Kong Country TV show Candy with those weird big lips. Like, it has to be that one.
I'm hoping for Cranky myself. That'd be awesome.
And Scrooge McDuck, too. You know,
there you go.
Pogo Stick Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you're talking about a third party. I think it'd be really cool to bring in third party. In my mind, I immediately went to Shovel Knight. We've talked about Shovel Knight before, hoping that it was in the last one. A lot of people voted for it in the Smash ballot as well. And I thought of Bayonetta. I know they had that great connection there, and it'd be interesting if they bring that back or bring that into their and Meat Boy as well. I thought about, like, we talked about how interesting, like, Meat Boy is selling like crazy on Switch, and especially this new one. And so I thought it'd be interesting to bring in Meat Boy, especially since he's so small and that can kind of have a little different elements to the game as well. But in terms of first party, I immediately went to ARMS. It'd be entirely surprising if they didn't throw ARMS characters in there. I don't know.
I agree. I mean, ARMS is a no-brainer. At least Ribbon Girl / definitely. And Spring Man, like, have them alternate costumes.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a little against Meat Boy, and I'm going to tell you why. I like Meat Boy. I like Super Meat Boy. I think for Nintendo characters, it doesn't matter if they're new or old, because it's Nintendo's game. But I think for third-party characters, they should be established classic, important characters. And yes, Super Meat Boy is a great game, but he's not like an old school character. And I know someone's going to listen to this and go, but Bayonetta's a new character. And that's true, but Bayonetta is virtually Nintendo at this point. So because of that, I can let that slide. But you look at all the other third-party characters they've ever had. Sonic, classic. Snake, classic. Pac-Man, classic. Ryu, classic. Cloud, even though I think Final Fantasy VII is way overrated, it's still classic at this point. You know, so you have those characters, and
So
Mega Man, of course, is classic too.
So would you say the same thing about Shovel Knight then? Because
you know what,
I mean, it's kind of modern classic, but it's not really classic.
I would honestly say the same thing about Shovel Knight, because it's modern classic, and I think if Shovel Knight got in there, there had to be other characters that are more deserving first, and those to me, and this is personal, is Bomberman, is Bonk. Bonk should be there. I mean, that was the big rival. Another Sonic character, or other Sega properties. You know, you get like Beat from Jet Grind Radio or something like that. That would be a really cool character. You can get Kid Chameleon that can change to different costumes. Vector Man. I mean, there's so many Sega characters you could throw in. You could go back to Konami, Simon Belmont, or any of the Belmonts. Soma Cruz. I mean, there's so many good Castlevania characters that should have a representation in there. So you look back at these classic old school franchises, these long running franchises that have appeared on Nintendo systems, and I think a representation from those should be there before a newer franchise, just because of the pedigree that is Smash Brothers. And that's my personal opinion. Feel free to disagree all you want.
Sure. Greg, what do you think?
Well, I don't think Cloud fits under that rule because I don't think he's really appeared on Nintendo platform.
Theater Rhythm and Theater Rhythm Curtain Call has both appeared in, and both are on 3DS.
That's true, but they're not. Yeah, they're not classics in there. So I get where you're going.
And it's also not Final Fantasy VII. So
you're right, but it's not. But they did appear. He did appear at least.
I actually would like to see a lot more of the villain characters. I mean, we can get like Dr. Eggman. We can get whatever. Captain K. Rool, obviously, like Barry said earlier, would be really cool. Ridley, too big. No. I mean, another really cool one, if they could do Grima from Fire Emblem Awakening. I think that'd be really cool, but because he was added to Fire Emblem Heroes, so I was like, I can get another undead dragon.
That's a iffy category there, Greg. Only because there's so many people, and I'm not with them. I'm all for more Fire Emblem characters, but there's a lot of people that are too many Fire Emblem characters.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not huge into Roy or Ike, so I wouldn't mind if either of them got an axe to.
You know, Roy's our boy, okay?
Yeah, I know. I really think that the next game will have its like main player be added though. So they've already done like the promotion with Roy before his game came out. They did like they obviously added Corrin in after the fact, but I would think that the upcoming Fire Emblem game to be released this year will probably have their main character probably roped in to help sell it.
That's a good point.
I could see that.
Well, do you think they're going to do the Smash Ballad again?
Yes.
I would think so.
In a heartbeat.
I also think there'll be additional DLC characters after the initial roster of like close to 60 or whatever, if not more, 65, 70.
Now, here's a question. Do you think the Mii Fighters will be back? Because I want them back. I think it's part of Nintendo's history at this point, but do you think they'll be back?
It's a good point, because I don't know if they'll have the the customizable Mii characters. I don't know, like, because you can bring all those in. I don't know. Maybe they would. I don't know.
It depends. I can see yes and I can see no. I mean,
weren't the Mii Fighter or the Mii Racer still in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe? Did they leave him in, or did they take him out? I forget.
I think they left him in. I think.
I don't remember seeing him in there,
remember.
Maybe not. I don't know.
You know, I was just playing it the other day, and I was, if you're in the chat, let us know. But I remember I just played it like a week or two ago, and I remember sometimes I do pick my Mii character when when someone else picks, Dry Bones or Yoshi or something like that, I don't get my normal character. A lot of times I'll go to my Mii character and I don't remember seeing it on the roster at all. So it would be interesting. Yeah. I mean, because Mii's are still a thing for Switch because you can pick them as your avatar or whatever for your icon.
Nope,
but
it's there.
Are they there?
Yep, Mii is still in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Okay.
So if Mii is still there in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, then Mii Fighter should remain. The 3, even if it's generic, just the 3 versions, Mii Fighter should remain.
And I also think I'll probably match Wii U's version where you can't use them online for the custom moves type stuff. So
That's another thing. Our custom moves coming back.
That's true. Save that for another podcast. So.
Yes, we have plenty before E3.
Tune in later. Yes, yeah, and most likely, I mean, I think we're all probably thinking this is a holiday 2018 title. I mean, I think we're all in agreement on this. We've talked about it before.
About September.
So we're probably maybe September at the earliest probably. So we have plenty of time to talk about what we think is going to happen, and yeah, E3 is right around the corner, so they'll probably tell a lot more information then. But until then, let us know, in the chat what characters you hope to see in Smash Brothers, and we'll revisit it a little bit later after we see your responses. So, any other thoughts about the possibilities for Smash Brothers characters before we move on?
Well, one for me that's way out in left field that I know they'll never get approval of would be Mickey Mouse. That we can see who's better, Mario or Mickey. But
never.
That's exactly what I was saying. That's like the farthest away.
What about Waluigi? There's a following for him.
There you go. Or Marvel characters. There you go. They strike the deal with Disney. You get to bring Marvel in there. Nintendo versus Marvel, just like Capcom versus Marvel. So, or Marvel versus Capcom. So. Yeah.
No, honestly, if they bring back every character, I expect no fewer than 20 new characters added to the roster, and I'm putting that down. And I will be disappointed if there's not that many. And here's why: because they already have the groundwork. You can't, like, even Mario Kart 8, which had the groundwork done, they added 6 new characters or something like that. So if they could do that for Mario, they could do that with Smash. I'm sorry, it's easy enough to do. Yes, I know balancing is an issue, but you've had 3-4 years. You're only doing 20 characters.
Yeah. How long did they say before that it takes them to create a character and have it all balanced and everything with the game? It took several months, I remember.
Yeah, but there's also, they can put more
3 months, wasn't it?
Don't know the size of the team.
So if they've been working on this version for, let's say, 2 years, that's like 3, 6, 9, 12, 8 new characters at least, but maybe they've been working on simultaneously. Maybe it's not just, the original team. Maybe they have broadened that out in order to make it even, bigger for a better game and going in the future. And so maybe they can work on multiple characters at once. Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on. Kind of nearing the end of today's podcast, we do want to talk about upcoming releases. They're going to come out in the next couple weeks because, spoiler alert, we actually are moving the podcast schedule from once a month to twice a month. We're now going to go every other week on the NintendoFuse Podcast. And so right now, we're just going to look to the future. In the next couple weeks, there's going to be a lot of games coming out. Nintendo's been popping them out like crazy. But over the next couple of weeks, is there anything that just stands out to you that you're particularly excited about, Greg?
Yep, I would say that Awesome Mega Man Legacy Collection 1 and 2, I think it comes out the May 25th or something like that. Really looking forward to playing the classic Mega Man games again.
Nice. How about you, Barry?
Off the top of my head, Shantae and maybe Hyrule Warriors Legends to do it again, or Hyrule Warriors Complete. For me, I forget what's coming out. I just have everything pre-ordered, and then I get like the little pop-up from on the phone. It's like Amazon, like, oh, your order of this is shipped. I'm like, oh wow, that's coming out already. All right, I guess I'll be playing that tomorrow, or
Nice.
at least I'll have it to play. So it's kind of like Christmas. I don't even know what's coming out anymore. There's too many games.
It's true. Since you're going for the whole collection, you're gonna have everything, and it just kind of arrives, and you're like, oh look, that's cool.
Look, now I can play this. Like this is available to play.
That's awesome. Yeah, I agree with Hyrule Warriors. I'm excited about it. I'm still on the fence if I'm going to get it or not. I really like the Wii U version. I didn't get it on 3DS because I thought it was a little too soon to double dip. Maybe this one doesn't sticks the stuff together, so I'm holding out on that. But that comes out May 18th. Super Chariot. I'm not particularly excited about the game. What I am particularly excited about is that they are incorporating hue lights into the game. And that's almost enough for me to get it just to check it out. Because I'm not excited about the game, like I said, but I'm wondering like how it all works. And I want to play around with that sort of thing. And I've always thought it'd be cool to have like total environmental kind of control and stuff on games. I don't know if Super Chariot's the one that I would, had pictured in my mind to do that with. It'd be a lot better if it was like, Breath of the Wild or something, but it is interesting. So I'm kind of on the fence just because of the hue light integration into that. And also, like Barry said, Shantae, I've actually got a preview copy of it, and so I've been itching to put it in. I've been traveling a lot the last couple of weeks, so I haven't gotten a chance to actually download it yet, but I'll be excited to play that in pretty soon as well.
The Super Chariot's one of those games that annoys me simply because in here it's coming digitally, but in Europe it's coming out physically. So it's one of those I have to import now, and it's like, oh man, why can't we just get this in English? And then the moment it comes from Europe, it'll be like, oh yeah, here's the English release now. I'm like, really?
Yeah. So DJ Burgess in the chat's excited about getting both a Switch and a 3DS XL. He's getting the Galaxy style for his 21st birthday this year. So happy early birthday, DJ! And he's particularly excited about the Pokemon games and Ocarina of Time 3D on the 3DS. So that's pretty cool. They're great games. We've talked about them a lot here on the podcast. So kind of scroll back through our archives and you'll see us talk a lot about Ocarina of Time 3D and all the Pokemon games. They've even got to the top of our games of the year list sometimes. So we're big fans of Pokemon around here. So I mentioned earlier that we are going to be shifting to 2 episodes a month on average. So every other week we'll be bringing the NintendoFuse podcast to you. I hope you guys enjoy this new schedule that we're trying out for a little while. Unfortunately, like we've alluded to earlier, Hassan is trying to get away from us still. Barry's working hard on keeping him tied up.
That's right.
But hopefully we keep him around. But until then, until he comes back, we figured in order to make up for him being gone, we would go to a more frequent schedule to bring some Nintendo talk to you guys. And I hope you enjoy it. And one of the other things that we're going to be doing is also going to be relying upon you to bring some content to the NintendoFuse podcast. So one way that you can do that is, of course, jumping in the chat. If you have not jumped in the YouTube chat when we record live, make sure you do that. We'd love to hear your comments and thoughts about the topics that we bring up every time. And if you're listening to it later, throw your comments down there and we'll refer to them in the next podcast as well. But you can also email us at podcast@nintendofuse.com. And if you have a cool question, we'll bring it up into the next podcast and kind of try to refer to a few of your questions every podcast episode and kind of a mailbag sort of segment near the end. So if you've got a question, something you would like us to chat about, make sure you either throw it in the comments or contact us on Twitter, Facebook, or of course, email us at podcast@nintendofuse.com. We're going to wrap it up really soon, but any kind of final thoughts for today's podcast? Greg, you got anything?
Nope, just excited to see more about that Nintendo Online service and hope it comes sooner than later. But at least information on it. I know the service itself is not coming till September, but more information sooner.
Yeah, that'd be good. Barry, any final thoughts?
I think Nintendo really, I retract what I said before. They shouldn't go for those really great games. They should just fill up this whole download service with the worst NES games possible. Get Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde on there. Get Silver Surfer, Uncanny X-Men. Like, just make this a crap fest. Like, let's make it happen. Bring out the worst of the NES library. Let's make the whole thing one giant AVGN episode or something like that.
Nice. Just match the horribleness of the online chat app to the NES library. You know, that they both got
and it
which is
has to
worse.
have that Brawl stutter. You know, like when playing Brawl on the
Right.
Wii. You know, it has to be terrible, like terrible service. Like make it 14.4 dial-up only.
That'd be great. Yeah.
So you're saying there's a chance for Zelda 2 for me? Everyone hates that game.
We could throw Zelda 2 in there for.
Why not? Why not? Yeah.
But you only get one hit and you're dead. It's like extreme Dark Souls edition.
Oh, wow. Well, that brings us to an end for episode 148 of the Nintendo Fuse podcast. If you are new to this podcast, make sure you subscribe. We would love to have your subscription. Toss your comments and thoughts and everything in YouTube or any other podcatcher that you use to listen or watch the Nintendo Fuse podcast. We'd love to have your feedback, your comments as well. Send in your questions and we'll refer to them in the next podcast at podcast@nintendofuse.com. And again, thanks so much. And we'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode of the Nintendo Fuse podcast. Greg, Barry, thanks for joining us. See you later.
See ya.
See ya.